Hello, everyone. Welcome back to Starkey Farmstead. So I was gone for a couple of days. I wanted to show you guys my new shirt. Look how cute this is. It's all good in the woods. So I basically went to Sasquatch land, where Bigfoot is supposedly. I'm just saying, throw that out there. When you pop on, hit like, drop in comments where you're watching from, who you are, so that we can have these conversations, folks. Because here's the thing, they think we're dumb. And I'm using the government and the left. I saw a guy earlier just basically making fun of Americans, okay, like conservative Americans. And they basically want to call us racist, bigoted, narrow minded, everything that you can imagine. And we walk into it. Hey T, how are you? We walk into it, folks. We allow them to set us up, and then they got these perfect sound bites. So they're taking what you said out of context, and they really like doing it to old people. So I want to make a point here. My mom and dad were born in the 40s, okay? And they were in high school. My mom was a senior when they finally desegregated public schools. All right. Now, that would mean that was early 60s because she was married later in the 60s because I have a sister born in the 60s. My point to this is they like to take old people and try to say that they're racist when they say we need to go back to the way it was in the 60s. I'm going to let you hear this.
What our children think in the schools.
What would you like to see happen?
I'd like to get back like it was in the 60s.
This is a perfect example of a Republican telling on themselves for being racist while also not realizing that they're being racist.
Before all the civil rights stuff?
Before all the civil rights stuff.
So you would like to see things go back to before the civil rights stuff?
Oh, yes. Oh, yes. You know, where people have their freedom in this country.
Well, certain groups didn't have as much at the time, right?
Right. They didn't have as much at the time. But we still got to get back where this country stands up for this country.
All right. So if you notice,
this country stands up for this country.
He never said one thing about separating blacks and whites. He never one time made it a racial comment. He's talking about a period in American time where they still taught people to love their country. And things were very peaceful in public schools. I know because my parents went there. Yet the guy twists everything he says to make it a civil rights issue. I don't know, you guys. I just think it's kind of disrespectful because then we go to commenters like this. Let me get her going for y'all.
Said that they would focus on if they had control of the House. Why would the Republican leadership and the committee majority give a hearing and a platform to the witnesses today, specifically to Mr. Kennedy, a man who has recently claimed that COVID-19 is targeted to attack Caucasians and Black people? The people who are most immune are Ashkenazi Jews and Chinese. And before that, in his film, Medical Racism, The New Apartheid, that film stated that COVID-19 vaccines do not work for Black children because of their, quote, kick-ass kind of immune system, that hyper, superhuman, subhuman kind of language. He also said, even in Hitler's Germany, you could cross the Alps to Switzerland. You could hide in an attic like Anne Frank did, to imply Jews in Nazi Germany had more freedoms than unvaccinated Americans during the COVID-19 pandemic. Now, many of my Republican colleagues across the dais will rush to cover that they have Mr. Kennedy here because they want to protect his free speech, that they do not believe in American censorship. This is not the kind of free speech that I know of, the free speech that is protected by the Constitution's First Amendment. But free speech is not an absolute. The Supreme Court has stated that. And others' free speech that is allowed, hateful, abusive rhetoric, does not need to be promoted in the halls of the people's house.
All I'm going to say is she kind of walked into that. Hey, Tracy, Hey, Mookie Mama, freedom of speech should be absolute unless you're threatening people's lives. Okay. Yeah, amen. Somebody said, we remember when you took people's jobs away for not vaccinating. We remember when you ruined people's careers for not vaccinating. We remember old people dying alone without their families in nursing homes and hospitals across this country. That's what we remember. Yeah, Tracy, they did. They most definitely did. We remember you doing that to Americans. We remember that in some states and in some cities, you could not get on public transportation without being masked up. You couldn't go into some stores, some smaller versions of stores, like personally owned, were asking people for their shot records. I'm just saying. I mean, it was really out there, yet it's us. It is the right that wants to end democracy. She's talking about freedom of speech, but what she's not really being honest about is all the people threatening across social media right now. Get on TikTok and say that you voted for Trump and watch them come after you. It's insane. It really is. It's a level of insanity I haven't seen for in a long time. Now, I made a video today and people are still not understanding this, and I must clarify. This is satire, folks. It is not real.
About Donald Trump getting rid of the trans species child tax credit.
Excuse me. Getting rid of the what?
Because for the past 4 years since Biden got in office, I've been receiving $12,000 a year because...
Repeat that slowly. You've been receiving what?
My son identifies as a cat, and that's counted as a disability.
I don't think I can even reply to what you just said. Not get a community violation.
So they sent me $1,000 a month to help with raising him and his transition and all that.
Excuse me.
All right. So my point is this, everybody. That is a satire account. Her name is I Stand Starred. Cass Diaz states that this is a satire account in her bio. Okay. Many of her videos widely disseminate anti-trans misinformation of various kinds, including a second video that alleges her son uses a litter box. Okay. It got 7 million views. I did that video earlier today and people were still underneath the video that I put up saying that this was real. It's not real. It is satire. It's adult comedic relief. Okay. The problem with that is so many Republicans, hey, Brittany, run with it, sharing it across social media platforms, putting it out there as if it is a thing that it gives the left. And this lady that was just speaking in front of Congress, I'm going to tell you who that lady is. Her name is, hold on. Her name is Stacey Plaskett, saying that free speech is not absolute. And it is because, unfortunately, we allow ourselves to run off without checking things. Now, everybody remembers Peanut the squirrel and all that nonsense. I want to make one comment here while all of you are with me. Monica Kiesler admitted to getting on Facebook and claiming that she was pointing at somebody else's comment. This is the person that turned in Peanut. She first accused before she herself was accused. I've yet to hear her apologize. It's crazy to me.
I didn't say this, but my personal reasoning was she was understandably upset. And so I also felt stupidly safe making that comment.
Right.
And that was not in any way, shape, or form.
So what she's talking about there is she claimed somebody else was the person that turned Peanut in. And then when the world came down on her, immediately she backpedaled. Hey, Leslie. Hey, everybody. So I just kind of wanted to go through this with you guys real quick. We must guard ourselves. They think we're crazy. They talk about us as if we're crazy. And here's my question for y'all. Anybody been feeling really bad lately? Because ever since I made it to Washington, my headaches went from none through the roof while I was in the state of Washington. All right, like through the roof. I've come home, they're slowly getting better. But the entire time I was there, I had this headache right here. And it was like nonstop. And Leslie sent me this.
Would never use frequency or sound wave technology on their people or to manipulate weather. So, with that said, we got to figure out why else this may be causing everyone headaches or feeling weird or weird dreams, not feeling yourself, dizzy, basically the same side effects any of those funny pills give you on TV. All right, my friends, all jokes aside, we have seen this before and we talk about it all the time. It's just a matter of how we talk about it and what social media platform we're talking about it on. Because as you all know, things are censored left and right these days. But very quickly, I want to jump over to Ireland and the UK because we have seen very similar, if not the exact same things taking place in these areas right before, during, or after large storm. Now, I'm not saying the Northeast will get a storm. What I'm saying is these signatures tend to pop up when they are quote unquote messing with things. All right, so go ahead and get a good visual in your mind of the UK and Ireland, and now compare that to the Northeast of the United States today. And you almost can't tell the difference between the two areas across an ocean. And now something else very interesting about this phenomenon is that these clouds aren't really moving. The moisture itself is moving, but whatever's causing these frequency waves is staying put. So it's almost like you see the sound wave or this frequency wave, whatever this may be, is moving through the moisture, keeping the clouds in place and just morphing them as it passes by. And as above, so below. So people on the ground look up and see this type of formation and they are blown away. Some of these look like giant rib cages. They do not look like natural formation. And there's a lot of arguments online whether this stuff is natural or not. This is one of the biggest talked about phenomena on the internet and always has been and likely always will be, because people know deep down in their hearts and in their minds that this is not normal. There is something weird going on in our skies, and there is no way that they stopped experimenting with weather back in the 40s and 50s when they started, because that just,
it doesn't make sense to think that they had all this technology to manipulate a hurricane, folks, a category 3 or 4, so big it ended up killing people. They had that technology 70 years ago, but they just shelved it. They just shelved it, right? Come on. They have human brains in petri dishes that are growing eyeballs running computers right now. So don't tell me they shelved this. But here's why I'm showing you all these bits and pieces at one time. They're going after our freedom of speech. They're going to use stories like the satire account of My Child's a Furry Cat, as well as the Monica Kiesler story of misinformation, along with this woman, Miss Stacy, saying that Congress has already said it. You don't have absolute freedom of speech. You know, only the people that we want to speak are going to have freedom of speech. They are manipulating the weather. I totally agree with you. Yes, they can create earthquakes. Yes, Joe, thank you for pointing that out. Lots of people have been sharing pictures on Facebook, TikTok, Twitter, I mean, anywhere they can of what is going on. And I wanted to show you guys the difference between what an airplane looks like when it takes off versus what cloud seeding looks like. All right, so it's very small, but there is a plane. See the plane? There's no white plume coming out behind that plane that just took off.
Ladies and gentlemen, good evening and welcome to flight number 5941 service to Orange County. I will be boarding at 5.
See that? No white. No white at all. It's very different when a plane takes off and you can see the shimmering from the heat coming out of the exhaust versus when you look up and there's a white plume shooting out. That is cloud seeding. And as I'm driving in the Olympic National Forest, a rainforest, a beautiful temperate rainforest with my daughter, I look up and there is this plane going over the mountains, pouring white bellowing smoke that stayed for the remainder of the day, just spreading out from where it was sent. And I went, it's even here in a rainforest. above Indian reservations. It's this far north on the Canadian border. And let me tell you guys what else I saw. While I'm in Forks, Washington, I noticed there are Hispanic people everywhere. This is a very small town in the Northwest, almost to the Canadian border. Feels like you're at the end of the world. And there are immigrants everywhere. And I'm like, wow, wow. So just be aware of that. All right, so Brittany said, I live in southern West Virginia, and they're definitely feeling it there. Yeah, I agree. Yeah. So, guys, I just want y'all to know that we are all in this together. Please be careful what you share on social media. When you see something on social media and you are unsure if it's an actual thing, if there's any validity to it, if there's any truth to it, please feel free to drop that question. Ask me or Leslie in comments on any of the YouTube channels to look into it for you. Because here's the problem. They're making the people on the right look insane, but we're not the ones out there doing the B4, movement, shaving our heads, refusing to love our husbands and yada, yada, yada. It's gotten pretty bad out there, folks. Hi, we have somebody here from Western New York. Welcome.
There's no racial literacy. There's no this. So you can easily, take an economic problem in this country and, misdirect everyone to trans rights, diversity, and all of that. And that's what happens when you don't have any consciousness of, class, dialectical materialism, all that fun theory
He
stuff.
thinks he's so smart,
It is
you guys.
past time we put America and Americans first. Joe Biden and his regime are shelling out benefits to illegal immigrants like Oprah Winfrey on her show. Everyone gets a vote. Everyone gets recognized, even if you're here illegally. In New York, aliens are receiving $53 million in free prepaid debit cards. In Denver, Colorado, aliens get 6 free months of housing. And now they want to hand them seats in Congress to buy their lifelong allegiance to the Democrat Party. There are now at least 16.8 million illegal aliens living in the United States, enough to account for roughly 22 seats in the House of Representatives. Including these aliens in the apportionment of congressional districts impacts representation in Congress and undermines the constitutional principle of one person, one vote. Americans deserve to have their voices fully represented, not diluted by illegal aliens.
Thank you kindly, and it's always
Pay attention to
hear
this.
my friend from Colorado speak. One thing that I do want to point out, however, because there might be some students in the gallery today, is that there can be no illegal aliens and there can be no green card holders in Congress, because the Constitution very clearly specifies that you must have been a citizen for 7 years before you run for the House, and you must have been a citizen for 9 years before you run for the Senate, and you must be a born U.S. citizen in order to run for president of the United States.
Okay, so, but what he did not say, and he diluted the water, she kind of walked into it. That's what I'm saying. We walk into these positions where they nail us and make us look racist, which the lady said from Colorado was 100% correct. What's going to happen is when they do the next census and they're able to claim illegal aliens on the census, it's going to redistrict everything. That's what she's talking about. He immediately runs up there and says, oh no, illegal aliens and green card holders can't hold a place in Congress. It's not exactly what she's talking about. She's talking about the fact that they're pushing to be able to count them on our census and then redistrict and rezone our voting. Guys, this is also important. There is a bigger picture to the influx of illegal aliens in this country. If you didn't see the video I did, while I will never fly on United again, I highly advise you guys and do that. Let's see. Yes, Obama was born in Kenya. We all knew that. And they shut us down with that nonsense. Kamala's parents were, neither one of them were legal US citizens. So you have to really, these questions have to be defined and answered in our generation, folks, or you're going to see people from other countries with other belief systems coming into America and changing this amazing country. And they want to say that it is that we are racist. No, actually, we're not. But you should not be able to come here and be taken care of. When I met a lovely lady in Fort Washington that told me she didn't even have enough money to afford rent and food. American citizens are struggling. So put Americans first. Once you get our economy up and going, then welcome in as many new immigrants as you want. But we can't support the world and ourselves. That is the issue. But be careful allowing people from the left to bait you. Be careful getting on Facebook like Monica Kiesler and accusing somebody else of calling on a squirrel when you don't know they did, because guess what? What you reap, you sow.
What happened to the beloved squirrel? That's when Kiesler says she came across a screenshot someone had posted in the group of a woman harshly criticizing Mark Longo and his wife.
Just saying that they should have known better to have them because it was illegal in New York to do so, and that they had monetized them, and that was also wrong in her opinion. And basically that they should have seen all of this coming, and they were completely at fault.
Kiesler says she's not a person who likes to see people kicked when they're down.
I had just seen a video of them crying, and someone asked in the comments who everyone thought recorded them, and I said my guess is this woman that was in this screenshot. 1,000 times before, shared my opinion on social media.
So I bet she does. I bet Monica is a true Karen in the world. I'm just saying, she can go on as many channels as she wants, screaming that she is innocent, but you admitted to going on Facebook, reading someone's post, their opinion. They weren't accusing, they were just giving their opinion. And you said, I bet this person is who turned in Peanut. I'm just saying. I am just saying. I agree. In Cat's Eye said, it's crazy. A good percentage of white families have integrated by now. All my grandbabies are. They're gorgeous, smart too, of course. They are homeless since 2 months ago. I no longer have the ability to help. Aloha, Jason. How are you? So here is the thing. It is not a color issue in America. It never has been. I'm mixed. My children have mixed in them. Everybody's mixed in America. There are really no fully Black people. There are no fully white people. There are no fully anything anymore in America because we are in an open, this is the least racist country in the world. You can come here, work hard, get a job, work hard, build a family, and people in your community will love you based on who you are and not the color of your skin or the gender you choose. But they have worked very diligent in public school systems and universities for the past 20 years to convince these kids that they live in the most racist world. Brings up the topic of why all these people believe that somehow by Trump being president, they have lost something. They've lost a right.
What right is he taking away from women? What right is he taking away from women?
He don't like y'all. He don't like none of us. He doesn't like nice people. He don't even like his own race.
What right is he taking away from women? Y'all still not answering my question. I didn't ask that for like 5 minutes.
He must watch Eric July, because one tactic that these people would constantly use, and I learned this from Eric, do not allow them to move the goalpost. Plant it and stay right there. What right is he taking away from you guys? Answer the question I'm asking you guys. And they'll go, they'll spurg about 40, 50 different things about how Trump will spit on you, doesn't like other people, doesn't like his own people. So which one is it? Does he hate white people or does he love all white people? Because it's getting to a point where it just doesn't even make sense now. Well, all right, let's keep going.
It wasn't the answer. We answered it. Y'all brought up education once I asked that question. Because y'all don't even know what y'all talking about. Y'all just go on Twitter, look at what they say, and just run with it.
Yes.
I watched the debate. I heard everything. Y'all thought he was taking away abortion. He can't even do that.
How does...
So that young black man sitting in a classroom basically told all he can't even take your right of abortion. So, like I said, I mean, you've got a bunch of brainwashed people out there screaming that we're the conspiracy theorists when we know that the World Economic Forum actually put a document out saying that our birth rates were too low. And if they didn't ship a bunch of illegals in, America would crash and burn, and so would Japan, and so would England. So don't tell me what I am. I know how to read. James said, but see, they think we're stupid. They always did. James, I have to totally agree with you. Jimmy said, too many young people that left home about 10 years ago don't have anything. They're struggling and probably in debt. They live paycheck to paycheck. Americans first. We owe it to the next generation not to put them so far in debt that our grandchildren's grandchildren are in debtor prisons, folks, and they will bring those back. Somebody else said, Verita Hunt 78 said it's only a tool to control. I think that you're saying the fear and the lying about Trump is what you're talking about. I agree. The parents are also responsible for their children, but let me explain something to you guys. We tell our children, go to school, listen to the teacher. She's right. She knows what she's talking about. So then that same teacher gets in there and tells them it's okay for a boy to be a girl and that Trump hates blacks and Hispanics. And then your child comes home with that thought process and you become angry with your child. But you put your child into another adult's hands. That's a cold, hard reality. It don't go both ways. You can't tell them, trust a teacher. They know what they're talking about only when they're reading out of the textbook, never when they're discussing religion or gender. We got to make up our mind. Are we going to leave our kids in public school and allow them to be indoctrinated? Or are you going to stand up, build private schools in your community, get your church involved? Guys, you can't have it both ways. Stop putting your kids in the middle. They're babies. You sent them to that school and you threatened to spank that little bottom if they did not obey and listen to that teacher. And then when that teacher turns out to be some crazy leftist, you get angry with your child. But you sent that child there. You did. Hey, Tammy, how are you? Hey, Tabitha, I saw you a second ago. Cindy, you know I'm going to preach, baby. I've been gone too long, but 5 days felt like forever not getting on here and just checking in with you guys. Just to tell y'all, I love y'all. We're in this together. It's going to be all right. And don't get mad at me. Listen, when you're watching a video that I made and I'm just talking, don't cut me off and comment and then just think that listen to what I'm saying. A lot of times I'm walking through my thought process, folks. And it just have that respect for me to let me finish my thought process, because I would have that for you too. And here's something to make you smile. And then I got to go turn that alarm off.
Prudence. Let's go. Hey, come on. Come.
Prue, get out of the bathtub.
Prue, come on. Yes.
So I just wanted to end that on a happy thing, you guys. Remember, the World Economic Forum also wants to remove our pets along with our meat and proteins and eventually our children. Stand tall, stand up for what you believe. I love you guys with all my heart. You guys, yeah, I agree, Cindy. I am kind of like that. If you cannot respect me, move along, because I will get snippy. Hey, Stella Luna from Australia. Welcome so much. Hey, Miss Laura. It's time for me to go. It's Saturday evening. We're going to go watch some Snowpiercer season 4 as a family. So I got to go, guys. I love y'all. I'll be back tomorrow. I was going to interview the gentleman that's going to be canine training our dogs for us tomorrow, but he is busy getting some more certifications. So it will be the following Sunday. So I will just do a live with you guys tomorrow afternoon. So if you find anything really amazing between now and about this time tomorrow night, get it to my email so I can get copies of it to share with the world. I love you guys. Have a blessed night.